right, welcome back to WZ Coffee Break. We are going on week 76 now, I think is where we're at. It feels like that at least of this quarantine. So welcome back to another work week. Today is Monday, in fact. So if you did not get the memo, I am here to help. Today we're going to talk about empathy. Before I get into that, I just heard, good, we got people chiming in already. Morning, Ron, Jeff. So I just heard on the news, and you heard some stories about Zoom kind of screw ups at the beginning, but it's funny that these things are still happening. Broward County judge actually last week had to put an order in place that mandates people dress up as though they were going to court for their Zoom calls, because he said attorneys were getting on shirtless, attorneys were getting on in their bathing suits by the pool. One attorney was still under her covers in bed. So let's take that as a note. Don't necessarily wear a suit, but at least put a shirt on. I think that's a fair ask. All right, so today we're going to talk about empathy. Empathy is really that connection that we're able to build, that bridge that we're able to build with other individuals in a conversation, right? With the point of increasing trust. So empathy is critical in an interview setting, but there's two main areas in the interview where this is most applicable. So the first is going to be in rapport. So rapport is obviously at the beginning of the conversation. We're starting to facilitate that level of trust between us and the individual we're speaking to. How do we as the interviewer use empathy to help facilitate trust, right? And we do that by really listening. That sounds pretty simple, but that's really the golden rule to this, is actively listen as we're going into these conversations. A lot of times what happens is we default as an interviewer to being so focused on the differences, right? So focused on, gosh, this person is a completely different age than me. This person looks like they came from a different background than I do. This person is a different position in the company than me. All these different things that are obvious differences. What you really need to do is focus on similarities, right? And they may not be as surface level as some of the differences, but the similarities come out by listening, right? So paying attention to commonalities that this person may be experiencing or has experienced, and you can build a bridge and connect with them based off of things that you've also experienced that are similar by asking appropriate follow-up questions. So during rapport, just making sure that we are actively listening, we're paying attention to things, shared experiences that they may say and introduce, and then we can introduce to them, hey, listen, I've gone through something very similar. I was dealing with the same thing. My wife also lost her job, whatever it may be, right? But paying attention and actively listening during rapport is a good way to start that empathetic process. The second part in the interview is the rationalization, right? So the whole point of a rationalization is to make sure we're building a bridge between us and the individual, letting that person that we're interviewing see us not as a representative of corporate or of law enforcement, but as a human being, right? So now more than ever, we are all going through the same thing. We're all dealing with it in different ways, of course, but we're all, more than probably any other time in our lifetime, we're all experiencing the same obstacle, right, with Corona and the COVID-19. So being able to take these experiences that we're going through now, all these hard times, all these things that come up and you're like, God, I don't know that I can get through this. This is really challenging. Process those experiences. And when we do get back to work, these are going to be things that I guarantee you're not alone. Other people are also experiencing very similar things, and you can use these via stories and rationalizations to try to build these bridges and connect with the people that we're speaking to, right? Because we're all going through this. We're all humans. We're all dealing with it in our own ways, but making sure that we can kind of paint that picture in a conversation and show other individuals, hey, listen, we've gone through things. We understand how difficult it can be. We get that when you're in a rough spot, you start to process things maybe differently than you would in a normal situation, right? So taking this opportunity to process and deal with those experiences and being able to use them as a bridge later in a conversation is going to be really impactful, right? To build that relationship and that trust. So that is all we have today. Just making sure that, treat yourself well, be good to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself for feeling tired, feeling unmotivated. All these things are completely normal and we're all going through them, right? It will pass. So have an amazing week. And if there's anything any of us at WZ can do to help you out, don't hesitate to reach out. Take care.